A lot of news coming out of London with Tottenham Hotspur and new ownership, in particular, minority stake. Am I hearing right now? So this week it has been stated that Spurs chairman Daniel Levy met with Qatar Sports Investments regarding potential ownership of the club, maybe in that minority stake ownership. JJ, give me more information if you have. Obviously, you work pretty closely to the Qatar Investment Group. We both have. I think we all have. But in many ways, they're trying to get more part of soccer into their portfolio here.
Yeah, what we understand, and Ben Jacobs has done a great job in breaking this story, is that QSI are looking to sort of expand, their foothold in the footballing world. We've already seen them pick up a minority stake in Braga in Portugal. They won't be selling up at PSG. They will be opening up a slice of the club's capital. So there will be a minority stakeholder coming in, but they will not be selling PSG and trying to buy, another big Premier League club. What they are interested in is potentially taking, a minority share in another big club in the Premier League. And those talks have taken place, with Tottenham Hotspur. There's also been rumours about Manchester United and Liverpool. It's my understanding that while those sorts of discussions might be considered, they haven't actually taken place just yet. So this is kind of QSI dipping their toe in the water with regards to, some potential involvement in a Premier League club. There's been rumours in the past about the likes of Arsenal, about the likes of Leeds United, but this is sort of the first concrete evidence that QSI are about to potentially get serious about their interest in getting involved in the Premier League. So let's see where it leads. But for the moment, it seems like the discussions have at least taken place with Tottenham, and there is expected to be some developments over the coming months, notably regarding that minority stake in PSG and who comes in for that. Don't forget as well, PSG, are now looking for, a new management figure after Jean-Claude Blanc left or is leaving for Ineos, who of course own Nice. And their owner, Radcliffe, has also been looking at potential Premier League clubs as well. So all sort of connected and linked to the Premier League in some way.
Nigel, nothing to add?
Nothing to add, mate. JJ's covered it all there. All I was gonna say was just, for me, it seems like obviously to dip in a toe. And I think from outside looking in, it kind of makes me think of obviously the whole Saudi-backed takeover of Newcastle, and they're kind of maybe a bit worried about the blowback and sports washing and human rights issues and stuff like that. So I think it's more of a dip in the toe in a minority stake than going full for it, because if they wanted to, they could go full for it.
Yeah, but if you're a Tottenham fan, what are you thinking about this move, Nigel? Obviously, Daniel Levy's had control of this club for a while now, and they've been very successful. Obviously, business-wise, they've been very successful. You have to say they've been very good.
Business-wise, they've been successful, but what have they won? What's the trophy cabinet looking like?
Maybe that's the question, though, right? Is that the question? They're hoping to have a bit more money here. Maybe Levy's saying, "Hey, you know what? Give us more money. We can spend more of that." Or is he going to take and pocket that money?
Ian, Tottenham have been a laughing joke for a long time in England about having such an empty trophy cabinet. From watching Arsenal be successful and all these other clubs do well, Tottenham have been the butts of laughing jokes for a very long time. All Tottenham fans will look to see is money, investments. We want to win something. They actually really want to win a trophy. But the problem is Daniel Levy has been at the club for so long, and literally it's been his club. And it's whether now there's going to be enough of a revolt by Tottenham fans. And it's when this money comes in, how that money is going to be used. Is it going to be used as an investment to actually get players in that they need, that they can feel they can compete with the top clubs and actually win something?
Mm-hmm. JJ, what does this mean for everyone involved in Tottenham right now, as far as you got the coach Conte, the rumors going around about Conte, whether he stays, whether he goes. Then you obviously have a gem of a striker in Harry Kane. Are they all looking at this movement outside, and maybe a Harry Kane's thinking I can get paid even more so now that Qatar Investment Group's involved? Or sports investment?
I think, to be honest, we're approaching, or Tottenham are approaching a really sort of critical juncture, in what will be, their future. Because I think in terms of the ownership, also in terms of the project that, Conte has kind of come in for. I mean, you look at Conte's comments from, less than 2 weeks ago, where he's talking about like whether Tottenham's project is to finish like 5th, 6th, 7th, 4th, or, better. It's not exactly encouraging. There's a feeling really that Spurs have kind of gone as far as they maybe can under current ownership. So maybe there will be that encouragement, that optimism, potentially with new investment. But, also, I mean, if, it is still sort of Levy calling the shots, is there a feeling
it will be?
No, I mean for at least for the short to medium term, yeah, it's going to be. So, is there a feeling, is there confidence in the club that, sort of he can still lead, the club to success with a bit more backing, or, is there a need perhaps internally for, bigger overhaul than just a new minority stakeholder?
Let me jump in there quickly, Ian.
Go ahead.
This kind of reminds me a bit of, obviously, Levy being at Tottenham for so long and running the club the way he has. Reminds me of Arsene Wenger when he kind of overstayed at Arsenal, because he started to treat Arsenal Football Club like it's his own personal kind of wealth that he was building. Instead of competing for success, he saw success as being in the Champions League because of the financial rewards there. It wasn't about winning. So this reminds me of that same scenario in the sense of the longer that Levy stays there, the more it's going to be more of the same.
I think though the difference though surely is that Wenger, I guess, felt like a lot of what Arsenal were doing and how they were trying to evolve as a club stemmed out of what he'd managed to achieve on the pitch with the team. It wasn't his personal decision to expand the stadium. And at the end of the day, the stadium, no matter how good it is now, and I know that supposedly the atmosphere has improved massively over the last couple of months, obviously coinciding with an uptick in form as well. It wasn't Wenger's decision alone, to expand the stadium. And that stadium, that financial commitment was like a weight around Wenger and Arsenal's neck for years and years, and stopped them being able to compete in the way that they were when they were at Highbury, in their prime in the Premier League.
Let me ask you both a question. This one, Nigel, I'll come to you first on this one. I was having a great conversation over about 25 pints while I was in a pub in Scotland, and we were talking about the Champions League. And back in the day, you used to have the champions of each league playing in the Champions League. Now you've got the top four from every league playing in the Champions League. It's kind of like a diluted down project for many a fan out there watching it now. You see a lot of teams from minority countries. Obviously, I love to see that the minnow countries getting an opportunity. But now you're seeing teams no longer competing for the championship. Now you're seeing teams business-wise saying, all we need to do is to get into the top four. We financially make a lot of money. We can spend a bit of money to get back into the top four next year. And business-wise, it's a success. If you want to win a championship now, you're going to have to spend a hell of a lot more, like we are watching with a Paris Saint-Germain, like we are watching with a Manchester City, who are overspending. They're still a great business model, no doubt about it, worldwide. But for clubs like Tottenham, wouldn't it be considered a success? I mean, they're still in the Champions League. They're probably going to beat Milan in the Champions League and move on. Isn't that considered a trophy for them to get to the knockout stages and, we're in the Champions League next year?
No. Listen, you don't understand. I've got friends who are Tottenham fans, and I'm always making fun about them not winning anything. They are tired of the jokes. They're tired of even football analysis, pundits, they all make fun of Tottenham unless they played for Tottenham. But the reality of it, you look at Harry Kane, one of the best strikers that England have produced in a long time, top class striker, wants to stay at Tottenham, but he's not going to win anything. And people already making fun of him, saying you need to leave Tottenham to win something. They get in a good place and they, for somehow, some way, always seems to mess it up. Tottenham. That's the reality. They've always been a selling club from when I was younger. They always used to buy the best young British players. I'm talking about when you're talking about Aaron Lennon, Tom Huddleston, Michael Carrick. They bought so many players and they sold them on after. They've always been run as a business. That's the problem. So until they change that attitude, and again, when you say about winning the league was a big thing here, and it was subjective because it was more about the nationality. I knew from playing back in the day, Liverpool wanted to win the Premier League more so than win the Champions League. Even that great Champions League against AC Milan, they would have traded that in to win the Premier League title because they see Manchester United dominate the league so much. So depending on what nationality you are, it's a bit more subjective, but it's just basically the powerhouse that UEFA has become and how the Champions League has become. And let's watch FIFA. They're talking about revamping the World Club Championship. And again, that's to fight off UEFA's dominance of the Champions League and how big and popular it's become. But
don't you worry. Don't you worry. That was another 25-pint conversation right there, what FIFA and UEFA are going to do going forward.
They're going at it. But just to answer your question, Tottenham fans want to win something, Ian. Trust me. They don't see being in the Champions League and they don't see that as success.
Yep. Well, Rafa Cardenas jumping in and saying Tottenham need to move on from Levy. Nice stadium, but empty trophy cabinet. Just as Nigel had mentioned right there, Tottenham fans very frustrated. BX Gunner 81. I'm sure he's not a Tottenham fan. Tottenham, long may it continue, with a little laughing emoji. I love it as well. Tottenham have wasted quality talent there, and I don't think there's any doubt about it. Tottenham is in the top 6 without winning anything. It's a magic trick that I've ever seen, if I've ever seen one. Listen, great comments coming in. Obviously, we all have our opinion on Tottenham and what they could do going forward, and we all know a Tottenham fan who is incredibly frustrated. They want to win something, and I'm getting fed up of obviously watching the business model of being get into the top 4, and we've done our job, and it's about money more than it is about winning. What are we in this for? For these ownerships? Sure, it's about money, but us, we're in it for the entertainment. That's why we love this beautiful game. We want to see people fighting. I want to see blood, sweat, and tears. I want to see teams absolutely going for it to win a freaking trophy.
Ian, I've got a question for you then, right? So you talk about Tottenham, they look at it as success. Look at what Newcastle have done in a short space of time without spending the same amount of money of Tottenham, but look how more complete Newcastle look and more equipped and adequate they are to maybe win something over Tottenham. And how many years have Tottenham been building for? So that's the thing you got to look at as well. That's the dynamic from a fan's perspective. You got to look at, if you're a Tottenham fan, you're going to be envious of Newcastle, what they've done by buying 2 or 3 players, getting the right manager in place, and they've got the right balance of players, and the coaching is right, the philosophy is right, and their recruiting is right. And they look like, Newcastle look like they can win something quicker than Tottenham can. And Tottenham have been building for how many years?
I hear you. No doubt about it. But let's not forget, they just did get knocked out of the FA Cup from a team in a lower division. And let's not forget that winning a trophy for fans in general, if it's an FA Cup, if it's a League Cup, it doesn't matter. It's a great day out. You know it well and truly. When you go to Wembley Stadium, and it gives your fans, your people, and Newcastle fans more than anything, they live and breathe. It's a religion for them, their football club. So they want a trophy. They'd rather have a trophy than finishing top 4 every single year and just going in the Champions League. Sure, they want to see the best games. They already do. Premier League's the best league in the world. But at the end of the day, I think trophies are where it needs to be.